Another thing humans do regularly other than poop is to have sex. Yes, almost every human being has sex, had sex, and or thinks about it. Guys have been putting their penises in strange things to avoid pregnancies and diseases for centuries. So what did they do when we didn't have latex rubbers like today? Let's start with the first recorded condom in the history. But before we do that, since penises are censored and you're probably watching this in public, I'm going to replace it with good old banana like they do in sex ed classes. Bunch of cave paintings from 11,000 BC in France show some kind of animal skin or intestine that resembles a condom. We don't really know what type of material it is, but this is the first recorded evidence that our ancestors wanted to use contraception while still getting down. I mean, kings didn't want illegitimate kids. It would kinda ruin their reputation, but they needed to put their testosterone to use when they were not at war. Centuries later, we see that Egyptians started to experiment with linen and loincloth. Pause for a second and look at what you're wearing. That could have been used to have intercourse. I don't know about you, but that sounds really, really painful. I'd throw out socks in the garbage that are not comfortable on my feet. That's probably why Greeks and Romans stuck with animal intestines and bladders around 1000 BC. Goat and sheep intestines must have been smooth. But my god, I have so many other questions. Like, what did they do to clean it? And what did they do with it afterwards? In Asia, around 1400s, part of the upper class used glans condoms. These would only cover the tip of the penis. Chinese made theirs from silk paper and used oil as lubrication, whereas Japanese tend to make theirs from harder materials like tortoiseshell or animal horn. Can you imagine a guy pulling out and be like, oh shit, I don't know where the gland condom is? This is why we need more people to question and invent new things every day. That is exactly what Italian inventor Gabriele Fallopius did when there was a syphilis outbreak in Europe and Asia around 1500s. His contribution to condom technology involved a protective linen sheath that was soaked in chemicals to reduce the spread of syphilis. He even had 1,000+ brave participants to test it out. The linen sheath was tied on with a ribbon, like gift wrapped as a present with a bow. I really want to know what was going through the participants' mind and what type of scientific method Fallopi used. Believe it or not, this might have actually saved the human race from extinction. For many years to come, people still used animal intestines. Because they were inexpensive, there was stigma brought on by various religious leaders on usage of condoms and lack of sex education. Almost 250 years later, American inventor Charles Goodyear made a new contribution to condom technology by making condoms using natural rubber. They were still as thick as bicycle inner tube, but less likely to break during sex. You ready to hear this? People started to advise that rubber condoms could be washed and reused until they fell apart. Aren't you glad that you're living in the 21st century? To make it worse, a few years later, America made it illegal to ship obscene material through the postal systems. That didn't stop people from having sex or experimenting. Various people around the world started to improve techniques on how to manufacture condoms to mass and make profit on it. Polish-German chemist and inventor Julius Fromm helped mass-produce condoms with a technique called cement dipping. He would dip glass molds into liquefied rubber to make a condom. With this, when the World War I broke out, Germans started to distribute condoms to their soldiers. Other countries followed when they saw their soldiers drop like flies because of STDs and couldn't fight anymore. Soon enough, we come to a landmark year in condom technology. In 1919, Frederick Killian, an American inventor, invented latex condoms that we all love today. The latex was the perfect material because it was thinner than rubber, odorless, cheap, and fast to mass produce. Over the next couple of decades, we've seen improvements being made to the condoms to increase effectiveness, reduce leakage, and test quality of them before selling. But it was still uncomfortable because of friction during sex. This is when Durex invented condoms with lubrication in 1957. Now condoms were safer and both people actually enjoyed it while keeping away unwanted pregnancies and STDs. Condoms became popular with various marketing tactics and manufacturers producing a variety of options to satisfy millions of people in need. You can now find condoms for people who are allergic to latex to those that prefer glow-in-the-dark condoms. If you've been wondering about female condoms, that's for another video. But we've come a long way from using animal parts to latex to enjoy sex, every day if you prefer.